Okay, guys, my name is Mr. Daly. I'm a 10th grade counselor for students with the last names P through Z. And we're joined today by Mrs. McGurriman, who's 10th grade counselor, last names A through G. Miss Adams, 10th grade counselor, last names H through O. And hopefully a little bit later, we're going to be joined by Mr. Brett from the Future Planning Center. So the goal today is to walk through the course selection process, and hopefully by the time you leave the auditorium here, you're going to have a tentative schedule input in Infinite Campus, okay, that fills up your 8-period school day, and we're going to walk you through that process. So as we get going, keep in mind we have about 1,100 sophomores that are scheduling to be juniors next year, which is a lot. So we tried to create a presentation that meets the needs of everybody, knowing that a lot of you have unique academic backgrounds, you've got some different things on your transcript, you have very specific questions for your counselors about where this is all going. So we understand that. Hopefully this presentation answers most of the questions, and then you will have opportunities to connect with your counselor to specifically discuss and finalize your schedule for next year. The other point is we know that the portal is going to close on Monday at 8 o'clock. So your opportunity to go into Infinite Campus and change your electives closes on Monday at 8 o'clock. It's mathematically impossible for each of the counselors to connect with everyone on their caseload between now and Monday, and we realize that. But hopefully you've been having conversations with your teachers and your parents. This presentation is just the next step in that process. Keep in mind we have until April 28th to finalize your requests for next year. Okay, so during that time you will have the opportunity to connect with your counselor, continue conversations with teachers, have discussions with parents, peers, etc. Okay, so don't panic. The window is still open until late April. Plenty of time to go through this. So as we get started, those of you who have a phone, we would ask that you take it out and scan the QR code that is on the screen. This is going to take you to the portion of our website that houses everything related to course selection. So if you don't have a phone or your phone is not cooperating, you can find this under the high school website, under the Our School tab. You'll see the course selection link. This just makes it a little simpler to navigate. But everything related to course selection is found right here. That includes a lot of general information that particularly your parents will find helpful. There's also the program of studies, which because of all the great academic offerings here is about 60 pages long. But there's course descriptions and in some cases videos, so you have a really good understanding of what the class is about. There's information about North Monco Technical Career Center, if you're interested in that path. And there's also all the documents that are related to course selection are found right here. So in some cases, there are applications or Google forms that you need to complete. All of that stuff can be found right here. So it would be really helpful if you haven't done so, scan this QR code for everything about course selection. So as we jump into course selection, first and foremost, we need to make sure that you're aligned with graduation requirements. So it's important that you know what it takes to graduate from North Penn, and you can see on the screen 23 credits by the end of junior year, and they need to be satisfied in a very specific manner. So you need 4 of English and 4 of social studies, which generally means you're taking those classes every year. You need a total of 7 credits combined in math and science, and that's driven by your performance on the Algebra Keystone exam, which we'll talk more about later, probably next year once everyone's taken them. You need 2 humanities credits, which loosely put means any elective other than a business class. You need 3 years of health and 3 years of phys ed, which is somewhat of a recent change in the requirement. So you need 3 years of health, 3 years of phys ed for a total of 0.9 credits each. And then the remaining 4.2 electives are just from general electives in the course catalog. So you need 23.0 credits to graduate. You will also need to demonstrate proficiency on the Keystone exam for algebra, biology, and literature, which again we'll get more into next year after everyone has had an opportunity to at least take those assessments once. So up on the screen, you can see a copy of a typical 10th grader's transcript. Our hope is that in the near future, you will be able to access your individual transcript through Smart Futures. But as we are still transitioning from Naviance to Smart Futures, we're not quite there yet. But in the near future, our hope is that you can access your own transcript so you can see what we're working with. But this is kind of the worksheet that the counselors use to help guide us through the course selection process, again, to make sure that you're aligned with graduation requirements. So you can see in the upper left corner, that's the courses that this student took at Pembroke. So you can see English, social studies, math, science, etc. You can also see the level at which those courses were taken. So this student took a couple of honors level courses. The final grade is reflected on the transcript. So it's important to know that each marking period or each semester grade does not show up. It's just the final grade. And then the credits that were earned at the completion of the course. Keep in mind, credits are not issued until the course is successfully completed. And then if you look over in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the classes that this student is pursuing in 10th grade. So again, English, social studies, math, science, etc. The levels, the student is again taking honors for English and social studies. You can see there is no final grade because the courses are still in progress, and therefore no credits have been issued. So when we meet with you, we're gonna be reviewing this to make sure that you're aligned. And we're going to be kind of developing kind of an 8-period schedule that will eventually go in that lower left-hand corner next year. Okay, so that's kind of how we think about the course selection process. So I'm going to turn things over to Mrs. McGurriman, who's actually going to walk you through building your 8-period school day schedule.
Hi, everybody. Hopefully at this point you have your Infinite Campus portal open and you're looking at what your teachers recommended for next year. I'm going to have you think a little bit differently. Just like our schedule here at North Penn is 8 periods in a day. So we're going to walk through core courses and how to kind of think about what you want to put in your schedule for next year. With our final goal in that Infinite Campus portal to be at 6.2 to 7 credits. So we're going to start out with English. So the 3 opportunities there are English 11, 5.0, 6.0, or AP English. So there should be something in your portal and locked. Over the past couple of weeks, teachers have had conversations with students talking about leveling and has entered one of those in your schedule for every student. So imagine that would just be your first period for next year. We'll move on to world history. Again, options are world history 5.0 or 6.0, AP world or AP European history. So again, one of those 4 classes should be in and locked into your schedule. So that has 2 periods down. We're going to jump on to math. Math selection, there's way too many options to put on the screen. But teachers have a math sequence based on what level you're in this year. There's a natural progression of what class you will take next year. And that's what teachers put in and locked for you. Take a look at the program of studies that Mr. Daly had talked about. Look at the math, different classes and the prerequisites, because the prerequisites must be followed. And if you're questioning or if you have questions about any of your levels or classes that are in your portal, please ask your teachers first. They have the best knowledge. They know your learning style and the reasoning behind the levels that they put in there. We're going to jump on then to period 4 with science. Again, too many options to put on. This particular student chose chemistry 5.0. You could choose, we have some semester classes that you would choose too, like botany or marine science, ecology, meteorology, to fulfill that science requirement. Again, there is a ton of different options. Take a peek at that program of studies to see if something on there intrigues your particular interests and the directions that you want to head after high school. So the next one is PE and health, and we have up there if needed. A very small percentage of students have already fulfilled their health and PE requirements. As Mr. Daly had mentioned, you need 3 years. So typically a student does that in 9th, 10th, and 11th grades. If you happen to be one of the students that doubled up and took it in 9th grade, you may not need health or PE for next year. Or your schedule may be too full that you want to defer that till senior year, and that's perfectly fine. Then we're going to put a lunch period in here. Then the next two, 7th and 8th period, are where you're going to put your electives. And really that's the opportunity to jump into that program of studies. We have 60 pages of good classes to take. It just depends on what you're interested in. And take a peek, look at, talk to friends, your parents on what direction you're heading post-high school and where you want to add in those elective courses. So again, we filled 8 periods, and we're gonna get to that 6.2 to 7 credits in that Infinite Campus portal. I'm gonna pass it back over to Mr. Daly on dual enrollment.
Okay, I just want to talk about a couple of exciting opportunities through the dual enrollment process. So dual enrollment essentially is where you have the opportunity to earn high school credit and college credit at the same time. And there's 2 ways that students can take advantage of this opportunity. Number 1 is through classes that we offer here at the high school during your school day, taught by one of our own North Penn High School teachers. The dual enrollment opportunity is embedded in the course. And you can see there's multiple opportunities for juniors to take advantage of this through business classes, health and phys ed, and math classes. And there will be even more opportunities when we go through this process next year because there's a lot of dual enrollment opportunities that are only available to seniors. So if this is the opportunity that you want to take advantage of and there's a class up there that looks appealing, you would input that class into your requests in Infinite Campus now. If it shows up on your schedule in the fall, you would receive communication from the high school as well as the teacher of the course about how to take the next steps to enroll with the college to get the college level credit. So if you complete the course successfully, you would have the potential to earn up to 3 college credits per class. Okay, so that's the in-house opportunity. We also have off-campus opportunities. And this is where you have the opportunity to work really with any college or university. It can be synchronously or asynchronously. It can be in person or virtual. So there's a lot of flexibility in the off-campus opportunity. I said it can be really with any college or university, but we work closest with those that are in close proximity to our campus, which is Gwen and Mercy, Pitt, Montgomery County Community College, Penn State, and Temple. And basically, you can take up to 2 majors and 2 elective credits through this opportunity with an understanding that any costs associated with this are the responsibility of you and your family. So if you are interested in taking advantage of the dual enrollment opportunities off campus, going back to that first QR code that we had you scan, in the course selection documents, there's a dual enrollment intention form that you would need to complete, your name, the course that you want to take, where you want to take it. And when you submit it, it goes to our administration, who would review it and advise you of the next steps that need to be taken. Okay, so there's 2 dual enrollment opportunities, 1 in-house and 1 off campus. I'm going to turn things over to Ms. Adams here.
All right, so we're finishing up with the course selection portion of our presentation. There's just a couple of things that we want you guys to know. So hopefully you're in your academic plan, your course plan by now. You'll be able to see that there's some courses that are locked. They're locked because that is what was recommended by your teacher. So for example, for English, you'll see there's a recommendation in there, whether it's 5060 AP. That cannot be changed. If you feel as though you would like to move up in a level, it's worth having a conversation with your teacher because they know you best as a student. So we as counselors rely heavily on the teachers because they can speak to your strengths, areas of growth, etc. Ultimately, if you do decide you want to override a recommendation, you need to have at least an 85% in the class. And then you also must fill out an override form. Those forms won't be available until the end of the 3rd marking period. So you still have some time to get your grade up, talk to your teacher, talk to your parent or guardian. Lastly, alternates. So when you choose your elective courses, you want to make sure that you have alternates in there as well. That way, if you don't get your first choice, you have a backup. If you don't have alternates, then we're going to have to choose your alternates for you. And you probably don't want that. We're good guessers, but probably not that good. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so this is what you should see on your screen. So you'll see for the student 9th grade, that's what they took. 10th grade is what they're currently in. And then 11th grade, you'll see those locked courses for those majors. Again, those cannot change unless you decide to override later on in the year. Where it says grade 11, to the right of that, where it says 4.75, you want that number to be between 6.2 and 7. That's kind of the sweet spot area of when you know that you've added enough courses into your schedule. We do ask that you guys don't put anything into the 12th grade section. So we know that you guys like kind of planning ahead, coming up with a plan. Don't put anything in there. I would say either do it on a separate piece of paper or do it on a Google Doc or something like that. We're going to have to go in and delete that anyway, so it's not worth wasting your time putting it in there. All right, taking a step back and reviewing the big picture. So it's really important that you guys use this first year at your high school and take a look and reflect what has gone well, what maybe hasn't gone so well. From a lot of people, I heard that they've been a little stressed this year. From others, I heard, maybe it was a breeze or maybe it's a perfect fit, which is great. So you really want to reflect on this year when you plan out your courses for next year. If you felt like you were extremely overwhelmed, see where you can take a step back and vice versa. If you feel like this year was kind of a breeze and it was really easy for you, see in what areas you can challenge yourself. So it's really important to consider all of that. You also want to consider extracurriculars, so sports, working, music, etc. Whatever you're doing outside of school, you want to kind of see what that time commitment is like when you think about your courses as well. All right, this is the good part, meeting with your counselor. So you guys are gonna have the opportunity to schedule a meeting with your counselor. We highly, highly encourage that you do so that you can finalize course selection. We are scheduling appointments via Calendly, so in a couple minutes, you'll see the QR codes pop up, and just make sure you make an appointment with the correct counselor. The biggest thing here, so we have Mrs. McGurman's, so if your last name is A through G, you need to take a picture or get your camera out, go to that QR code and follow the link. Only last names A through G, okay? It's really important that you do so. If you do not do so and there's something wrong in your course plan, then that's on you guys, okay? We're gonna have to guess what course you wanna take. Again, we're gonna have to guess what course you wanna take. So there's a QR code for last names A through G. All right, this is my section of the alphabet. Last names H through O. So if that is you, please take out your phone, make an appointment. It is your responsibility to make the appointment and not just make it, but remember it. The good thing with Calendly is that you can put your cell phone in there for text reminders, as well as email reminders. Please make sure you put in your North Penn email address. That's critical. North Penn email address, put in your phone number. Another thing to keep in mind is that we have about 360 students on our caseloads, so we can't all possibly meet with you by the end of February. It's impossible. So if you see something in March, even in April, that is fine. We have until late April to finalize things. So make sure you make an appointment that works for you individually, okay? And then we have Mr. Daly's. So if your last name is P through Z, get your phone out, go to your camera, and follow this QR code, okay? I see some people, last names P through Z, that are not doing anything right now. I highly encourage you to do so. If you don't and you miss that appointment, again, we're gonna have to pick your classes for you. There's no reason that you guys should not be happy with your schedule because we're going through this presentation now and we're giving you a time to meet with us to finalize everything. So if there's something in your schedule you don't like next year, we're gonna look back and say, well, did you make an appointment with us? Is this what you chose? And if you didn't make an appointment with us, that's kind of tough for you. For whatever reason, if you missed your counselor's QR codes, we also have them up here, and they will also be in the home office as well. So Mrs. McGurman is right here, I'm right in the middle, and then Mr. Daly's all the way at the end. So it's really important that you schedule that meeting. Lastly, some important dates. So I know this has probably been said to you a couple of times, but I just want to reiterate it one more time. So right now, you guys can make edits and things of that sort, add things into your course plan. That access cuts off Monday morning at 8 a.m., February 6th, okay? After that, in our 15-minute meetings is where you will make all of the changes, okay? So you have until April 28th to do so, and then after that, your course selection is pretty much finalized after April 28th, okay? So please make sure you make an appointment with us. It's really important. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Brett, and once Mr. Brett is finished, you'll have an opportunity to go through Infinite Campus, kind of plan everything out. I saw a couple hands, so just wait till Mr. Brett is finished, and then we'll be walking around to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mr. Brett from the Future Plan Center. If you don't know where that is in office K31, 4 doors down on the right, on the same side as your home office. So I'm here to talk about our new, this just broke. I'm here to talk about our new career readiness program, which you used to have Naviance. Now this is called Smart Futures. This program is, that icon is on your desktop at the bottom right-hand corner. If you want to go in there right now, great. If you want to focus on your course selection and questions you have for Mr. Daly, Ms. Adams, and Mrs. McGurman, great. In this program, you can do career aptitude tests, personality tests, college searches, career searches. You can do a sample job application. This is the program you're going to use to figure out what you want to do after North Penn High School, and also how to get to where you want to go after North Penn High School. In the Future Plan Center, besides myself, is Mr. McLarnon, who is in charge of our Career Work Study Program, which is a program you can be a part of during your senior year, which is going out into the community, into a career field during the school day. The other person in the office is Mr. Fry, who is in charge of the CHIP program, which is an internship program that is outside of the school day. Same concept as Mr. McLarnon's, but it's not during the school day, it's outside, either after school, on the weekends, or over the summer. Let's get back to Smart Futures real quick. When you go and click that icon, there will be two ways you will originally get in. One, it'll go right into the program, which will be a multiple choice survey that's 3 pages long that you must take in order to get to this screen. Or it'll make you log in, and please click log in through Google, not ClassLink or Clever. Then you take that survey, and then it'll take you to this. Once you get to this page after taking that survey, you have to choose an icon. You can change that icon whenever you want. There's tons of icons to choose from, but you have to choose one before you can move on. After that, we will be talking about activities during nighttime, which is this page right here. These are the current activities that are available to you. We are not going to ask you to do all of them. We might ask you to do 2 or 3 this year. You can do as many as you want. We're going to ask you to do a couple. What I suggest, do them, watch the videos, do the assessment, see what, again, personality type, career aptitude, whatever's available, then based on personality might bring up careers, then it will bring up majors or how to get to a career, and then based on that, it'll bring up training centers or colleges and universities to get to that career through that have those majors. You can search by a career or a career area if you already know what type of area you want to go into. So this is the way you search. You have the clusters, you have education level, interests, and also the personality test, which I mentioned. You can also do a college search if college is your route. Search by major, all these other criteria here. How big of a school you want. Where do you want the school? Is it local? Is it far away? Is it a big school, a small school, a city school, an urban school, suburban? And then when you click submit, you'll generate a list of schools. You can click on each school and it'll have a lot of information that you can look at. Then you can favorite the school just by tapping the heart. It'll go into your list of favorites. That list at this time, if this college is your route, should be as long as you want it. 40, 50, 60 to 100 schools. As you move into junior year, towards this time next year, maybe move it down to below 40. When you come back in August for your senior year, if college is still your route, it should be no more than 10. And then we can figure out how to apply at that point in time. But this is the program you will use to figure out which schools you're going to apply to. And then also we'll send your documents, your transcript, your letters of recommendation, any official documents from North Penn through this program. So this is why we ask you to start now as a sophomore. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to your counselors if you guys have any questions specific to course selection, or if you have any questions for me for Smart Futures.
All right, so now is the time, if you haven't already done so, start working on your course plan. If you are done with that, then you should be going on to Smart Futures. So there's no reason that anyone should not have their computer out and doing something at this point. If you guys have questions, just raise your hand, and we'll be happy to kind of answer them for you. I'm going to go back to the first slide, where it can take you to all the course selection links.